Hey, you're listening to Innovators Can Laugh, the fun startup podcast. I'm your host, Eric Milcher. On ICL, we interview an innovative entrepreneur in the European tech startup scene every week. My goal is to have my guests share their wisdom while having a little fun in the process. Now let's dive in. Okay, salute. Diana și Dragos sunt încântat să vorbesc despre sănătate și cultură compania. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. So my guests today are Dragos Duse and Diana Andrici, and they're both founders of Synaptique. Synaptique creates software solutions based on AI for improving medical devices. And one of their tools uses revolutionary software to separate cancerous tumors and organs that are at risk. Guys, really excited to have you on the show today to talk about Synaptique. But before we get started, why don't you just tell us, and Diane, you can go first, where you're from and how did that shape your view of the world?
I am actually from Moldova, from the Republic of Moldova. So I came here to Cluj for university, and then I stayed here because the city is really nice. I'd say the place where I've been didn't shape that much, or it was nothing so special or so different on the way how it shaped my, my perspectives or my choices. I wouldn't say it's that different from here, but probably in some my unconsciousness, maybe there are some factors that I didn't understand or I didn't see yet.
Okay. All right, cool. How about you, Dragos?
Yeah, so I'm originally from not so far from Cluj. It's Sebeș, it's a small town, and the same. I came for university in Cluj. Then I had a trip of 3 years in Germany, and then I came back because I realized this is a better place for a long-term stay for me personally.
What were you doing in Germany?
I was doing my master's degree in computational physics, and I was also working at some research institute.
Okay. So your German's pretty good then?
No, it's actually pretty bad. But I mean, the default for masters in Germany, it's English. So okay. I think also most of the master studies in Romania are in English, and also at the institute there are so many international people. Of course, it helped if you spoke German, but it was always easier with English. So I was basically only speaking German when I was going to the store. I just, I have a basic understanding, of course, but knowing English was just the easier way.
Yeah, no, that sounds like my Romanian. I've got a basic understanding, and I can say, La Revedere, Bună dimineața, things like that. Okay. Now, Diana, I noticed something interesting on your LinkedIn profile. You had a quote there, and the quote is, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." So I want you both to think back and think about a time that you put yourself into a situation and it was out of your comfort zone, and why was that? So Dragos, maybe would you like to go first?
Sure. I think I'm most of the time out of my comfort zone because I'm a really outgoing person, and I'm really curious, and I always like to challenge myself. It's almost like, these adrenaline junkies. I mean, maybe they do extreme sports and so on. I always like to wander around the boundaries of my capabilities just to get that challenging like adrenaline feeling, So I guess I mean, since we are in a startup, I guess this is the best example. Like first, when you start, you really have to be out of your comfort zone. You have no knowledge. You have a lot of this imposter syndrome, like, oh, what am I doing? Am I even the right person? Like, maybe I'm just a fool thinking that I can do this and so on. So, lately, I think this was one of the most challenging situations where I was out of my comfort zone.
During this journey, when you guys started your startup, Synaptique here, what has been something that you felt really nervous? Like, was it when you were asking for investment or pitching to investors, or was it when you were growing your team and you were having to speak in front of all your new employees, or was it when you were launching a product on the website and you weren't sure if you were going to get any signups? I mean, what is it, all those things, or was there like one specific thing that you felt like, I'm really nervous about how this is going to go here?
Yeah, I think talking to investors, at least the first times, it's really scary because you feel like, like I told you, it's a lot of this imposter syndrome that you don't even know if you can do it, or you just brainwash yourself thinking that you can do it.
Uh-huh.
And you go to these investors and ask for hundreds of thousands of euros, and you feel like you robbed them. But this kind of went away when one of them just told me, like, look, you have to realize that it's an opportunity for the investors as well, because where do you find these motivated people that are able to work 12 hours a day, 7 out of 7, who have all these amazing studies and experience, and they're passionate and so on, and they are ready to work for a small salary for years just to make this come to reality. And for them, it's maybe not so much to risk 100,000 euros since they're already wealthy people. So when this investor told me that, okay, you should see the other way around, that it's mostly an opportunity for the investor, and they are the lucky ones that they have all these people working for so much just to get this, and they don't have to do many things, of course, maybe an advice.
Yeah.
And then I just switched and I realized, yeah, this guy is right. So I actually, they are lucky too, because we are. So,
does that change your approach when you go to these meetings now? Like, hey, listen, I'm short on time. You're really lucky to meet me. So, if you want me, I signed you an autograph right here. So,
not quite. I'm not that.
Okay. All right, Diana. How about?
At some point.
Okay, Diana. How about you? About a time that you were out of your comfort zone, and did that happen recently, or maybe a few years ago prior to Synaptic?
I mean, I actually have this quote on my profile, as you saw, but it's in many times it's more like to guide me or to remind me that I need to do this. But I am not that much outgoing as Dragos is, unfortunately, but I aim to that. So I also have that quote to remember to aim to that. But yes, I also had many situations where I was out of my comfort zone, even before. So before I was a recruiter. So I was nervous when talking to people, when like selling the jobs, when like convincing people to come to the company. And especially I went out of my comfort zone when speaking to really senior roles, like senior profiles. And I was like people with 20 years of experience listening to me of 2 years of experience. How can I handle that? And I use that experience now when talking to investors or with potential, partners or potential clients. And even yesterday, I was really out of my comfort zone. Yesterday night, I had a meeting from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it was I had like in 2 hours, I was pitching to 8 different VCs, and they were so very different with so different questions, interests, and different like attitudes. And it was really nice. But why was it out of my comfort zone? Because they were all like with more experience than I had. I am really proud of the product we do and of the experience we have, but still staying like 2 hours face to face, or it was online, but you know what I mean, with these experienced people with various like interests and backgrounds and asking different kinds of questions. And I was just there alone, and they were like 3, 4.
Dragos, where were you at? Where was your support, Diana?
We split, from like in different directions, so we don't spend like all the time in the same meetings. So because we have different focuses, but usually it's more of us. But it was just a coincidence that I was the only one. It was organized, but by a program I was participating by an accelerator, and usually I go on their activities. So that was the situation.
Which accelerator was this, Diana?
It was Innovix.
Innovix. No. How would you grade yourself in your performance last night, looking back though?
I know it was great for like as my learning, I mean, going through this accelerator Innovix and some other programs really helped us in this pitching, presenting, handling discussions. It was really, really helpful. But with each discussion, you get to learn more. You get to, to understand better what people want, what their interests are, how you need to pitch, depending on who's listening or who's on the other side. So I think it was good. So out of the 8 VCs, 2 were really, really interested, and the others were moderately to high interested, or at least it seems so. So I'd say that it was really a nice experience. I'm happy about the results, but we'll see what comes next.
Okay, so Diana, your strengths, I know, lie in company culture, recruiting, and human resource activities. What about you, Dragos? What are your primary strengths as it relates to Synaptic?
I guess mainly stressing people around with the things that we need to do.
He's really good at that.
No, I actually, so I'm the CEO, so it's really hard to define the job of the CEO, because sometimes you have to do really low level stuff because maybe no one knows that specific niche, and sometimes you have to think about the strategy because everyone is so busy with the day-to-day stuff, so no one really has the time to think where the company is going. You have to be, supportive, encourage people, and so on. And I'm just trying to be, let's say, a medicine wherever I feel that the company suffers, and I just.
Yeah, no, that's so true, especially in a startup or early stage company. If you can get everybody with an attitude of like, hey, we're in this together, and that can mean anything from having to sweep the floor. There's no one better or above than anybody else in this team culture. So when we think about culture, and Diana, you have this experience and this background, what are some of the things that you're looking to bring on the new hires in terms of attitude and personalities? And in addition to these characteristics, are you using any sort of tactics or methods to try and get the best people to join the team?
Yeah, we were really careful when we chose the team. So at the really beginning, we were 5 co-founders, and we found each other, or Dragos found us through the network. And of course, we had some discussions, kind of interviews.
Which network?
It was high school and university. And I knew a common person that he knew from high school. I knew from like the previous job, and we kind of had a synergy, and then we decided it's a good idea to go.
Did I hear you correctly? 5 co-founders. I've never talked to a startup that had 5 co-founders before. So is that a decision you made on purpose, Dragos, or did you feel like, hey, I need these 5 key positions to be a part of this team here?
No, it wasn't that well thought through, and I don't think there's maybe a magic number. Probably you should be more than 2 because there are so many things you need to do at the beginning, and it's harder to convince investors if it's only 1 or 2 people. But yeah, pretty much my attitude was I realized that it would be a luxury to have really experienced people with the correct attitude for startup, risk-taking, and all this stuff. So at the beginning, I just opened the doors for everyone. I said, like, okay, you can join the project, and you will give up yourself in 2 months if you feel like, so many people find it interesting at first, but then after 2 or 3 months, they have other stuff. Oh, I have my job, I have my plans, I have my kids, whatever, and they just give up. So first, I opened the doors to everyone, and I just let this natural selection be, and like the people who are competent enough and who also have the right attitude state. And there were many people before, like as potential co-founders, which just gave up after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, something like this.
Yeah. I love sort of like the 18 to 24 month period, because that's where sort of like the enthusiasm fades and the passion fades. And that's when you really know like who's going to be in here for the long run. Okay, so a couple of quick questions for you guys here. Diana, again, and I kind of cut you off previously, but what is it that you're looking for when you bring on new talents? And the second thing here is my laptop may die. If it does, I'm just going to go get my plug and we'll come back into Riverside if it does die. Okay. So that said, I'll hand it back to you, Diana.
Yeah, so we were really careful when we chose the next, like the first employees. We were looking for like great CVs background. Of course, we started building the R&D team, so research and development. So we hired 3 people, and they 2 of them had PhD and still have, of course, PhDs in artificial intelligence. That was really important. One of them had experience at a international cancer research center. That was really great for us. Another one, it has really many results, really gold medals and so on different informatic contests, and really great background. But apart from that, they also needed to have kind of an appetite for risk, because it's not the same going to a giant company and, just knowing your path every day or every year, being promoted from year to year or whatever salary increase. But you need to understand that this environment is more dynamic, and to be open for that, and to know what to expect. And then also the motivation to be driven by, really be really motivated. So being able to get involved, in various probably jobs. I mean, of course, in the same direction, but, taking the lead on different activities, or coming with ideas, or giving more than 100% on what you do, and being driven by, an inner motivation, not just financial or career growth, because we think that you can also do career growth maybe even better than a giant company, because you get more responsibility and you get to see a lot of areas. You are not just a really small segment in some big company, but still it's a different environment, and motivation is really important when coming to a startup.
Okay, so I think you guys have around seven different customers and are projected to do over 400,000 euros in 2023. Who are some of these customers? Do they only exist in Romania, or are they outside of Romania as well?
They are in Romania. There are 2 chains of radiotherapy clinics, so 7 clinics in total. Okay. And we plan to, of course, expand internationally. We are also in the process of acquiring the European level certification, which allows us to, to sell the product wherever in Europe. But we started here in Romania because we had, interest. We have here a stronger network. But for the next year, we will not only focus on the Romanian market, but also in Europe, and then medium to longer term on other continents too. But, we need a certain certification for different areas of the globe.
Okay. And what is one of the things that customers really get excited about when they learn about you guys, and when you guys are talking to them about being a potential customer for them? I think Medic is one of your most popular products. Is there another product out there that people get excited about, and why?
No, this is our first product. We actually, the algorithms we are developing, they can be used in many applications in medicine. Actually, in most of the medical image analysis tasks. But we started with radiotherapy because here is the biggest need. 25% of the cancer patients don't get access to this treatment in Europe, and in other areas it's even worse. So I think the doctors get excited because they face these problems every day. So they don't have enough time to maybe treat the patients the way they want, and they don't have enough time to treat all the patients. So they must be suffering. They see all this. They see all this patient, and when they receive help from a product like ours, of course they are really happy, because now they can they have more time, and they can use it to treat all the patients.
Yeah, it sounds like patients have greater access now, and obviously there's a productivity issue here, time reduction, in terms of servicing the customers with this technology. Okay, a couple other questions here for you. How are you guys growing right now? What's worked best for you in terms of getting the word out there about Synaptic? And what's another marketing tactic that you guys want to try in the future?
Okay, so I can take this. For us, it's really important, as I said before, having a strong network, because like when selling, a medical product, it's not working as you would sell an app on the phone or a pair of shoes, or we don't need to go that much on advertising on Facebook, but what we need is really strong partnerships. So being it medical or imaging clusters, that could, open the doors for us, or having relevant partners or advisors that also are really well connected in this medical world. So because the trust you can build through these connections is more valuable than having a paid advertising on some social media. And then also like this chain, the word of mouth. So if we manage to go get some clients and they are satisfied, we are certain that their reviews or their talking with in the market will help us a lot when knocking on some other doors. So it would be much easier for us if we already have satisfied customers, that they would talk about us, and when we approach the new customers, the way would be much easier. So that's what we are focusing on, building the strong network that would help us, opening doors.
Okay. All right. Last question, Dragos. What's the highest stakes negotiation that you've been in so far?
Are you talking about the clients or in general?
It could be with investors. It could be on bringing a new employee, talking about salary, or it could just be, with investors or something else.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's a lot of negotiating as a CEO. You have to negotiate with the investors, keep them happy, or maybe attract new investors. You have to negotiate with the clients. You have to bring clients, but maybe doing something for a client might upset the investors, might upset the employees because they realize they have to focus on something else, and you have to keep happy all these parts, these moving parts of the company, and that's a difficult task. And even though, like, if we're talking about money wise, of course, the biggest stakes is always with the investors and the clients. But I think for me personally, the most important is when you negotiate with the people, like trying to encourage them. Maybe they lost some motivation for a brief while, or they, when you try to inspire them to revive their motivation, for the project. And I think that's one of the toughest and the highest stakes part, because for me personally, I'm more upset if employee or if let's say co-founder leaves the company. And I think it's more important than if you miss a client or if you miss maybe a good deal, an investment deal.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I enjoyed having you. This is Diana and Dragos from Synaptic. And for those listening, until next week, la revedere. All right, Diana, Dragos, pleasure having you guys on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was a really great experience with you here.
All right, my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could give us a review and star rating. Also, don't forget to sign up for the ICL newsletter at innovatorscanlaugh.com, where you can get the bio and details of each guest. Thanks.